Okay, so namaste everyone. Thank you for joining the session today. It's called Reroute Kids to Dharma. For those who don't know me, I'm Srinivasa. I'm the founder of Sohamvidya and Hindumitra as well. We've been conducting satsangs on a weekly basis on Saturdays. We've also conducted a lot of webinars, training, giving training on Sanatana Dharma and its relevance and importance in our daily lives. So let's begin with the mantra. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Our focus is more on rote learning than research. 1. We do not have an environment for innovation. 2. We do not have enough researchers. And 3. There aren't enough resources for research. Let's talk about environment first. Today, Indian students are running a rat race. A child is formally introduced to science around the age of 6 or 7. It soon becomes her IQ marker, the subject that she must excel in. If required, take extra classes and tuitions in. Science here is not fun. It's more to do with test scores and Olympiads. Come high school and the focus of science shifts to learning outside classrooms, not labs, but coaching classes. Students are told to embrace smart learning, learn only what's required.
Okay. So my question is, was Indian Bharatiya Vidya, Indian education, was it always like this? And what is Vidya? Now, this is an important component of Sanatana Dharma. Vidya is the foundation of Sanatana Dharma. And what is Vidya and what is Avidya? We will see. Right? So, Paramahamsa Yogananda says, the seeker of God is the real lover of Vidya, an unchangeable truth. All else is Avidya or relative knowledge. So, what is Vidya? Vidya is that which is the eternal truth, and eternal truth is nothing but the Atman, the one which stays constant irrespective of the time, place, and does not get destroyed, cannot be manipulated, and so on. And that is Vidya. If we want to use the word Vidya, it should be that. How do you realize your Atman? Only through self-exploration, only through understanding who you are. Now, if you want to use the word Vidya in education, does the modern education, particularly in India, give any scope for an individual to learn who that person is? Unless you do that, there is no scope for you to kind of pursue a path of understanding the cosmic oneness or the unchangeable truth. Okay. Now, some may argue saying that, well, the whole purpose of education is jobs anyway. But who decided that? Who decides what the education system should be? And should it only be for jobs? That is called relative knowledge, or that is avidya. So avidya is not just the opposite. It can't be just called as ignorance, whereas vidya is knowledge. No, we can't say that. We can say that vidya is knowledge, avidya is relative knowledge, as in vidya is that approach for you to seek who you are. So simply put, vidya is that true knowledge which helps us in pursuit, realization, and constant union with the unchanging, everlasting cosmic reality. Okay? And that is vidya. Vidya would require you to kind of focus on experiential learning. It is experiential. As Adi Shankara would say, Vyadihi aushada shabdataha vina paroksha anubhavam brahma shaddai namuchyate nagachyate vina panam vyadihi aushada shabdataha. You can't expect an illness to disappear just like that or be healed by you uttering the word of the medicine. You have to actually take the medicine, and that is you have to experience it. You have to experience the medicine. Similarly, you can't just say that I am the Brahman and not experience it. You have to experience that you are the Brahman. So what Sundar Pichai is talking about is the experiential learning. This was core component of our education system time immemorial. Okay. Current education system, forget about experiential learning. It just gives you, puts you on a path of no more than kind of abuse of your mind for memorization, which does not really allow the utility of one more important tool called buddhi. We have mana, buddhi, ahankara, and chitta. If you don't use buddhi or the intellect, if you don't sharpen it, Bhagavad Gita actually places a lot of emphasis on buddhi, the utility of the decision making and precision in decision making. If you don't utilize it, what's the point in entire journey of education gone wasted, where you're only kind of memorizing? You may be thinking, you may be using the mind, but not buddhi necessarily. So there's a problem there. So Vidya is for sure, it is about absolute knowledge, but it starts with knowing who you are, and avidya is the relative knowledge. It also goes to say that in Sanatana Dharma, Vidya is something which is beyond comprehension by mind and senses. Okay. Whereas avidya is something which is perceived through the senses. The more we actually think that the world around me is true, because I see, because I feel it, because I know it exists, but that's fine. But it should also give you an opportunity to say to yourself that it's not always true that what I see is the only thing exists. There is something else beyond it. Does the modern education system give an opportunity for that to be explored too? Now, the problem with the lack of Sanatana Dharmic kind of training is that when we imagine ourselves, the current ways of teaching kids, today's topic is about how do we reroute kids to Sanatana Dharma. That can only start when I allow the child to blossom, to think for themselves, to be able to kind of take those risks, to be able to kind of think out of the box, to experience things. If I don't give my child an opportunity to do that, I will not be expecting my child to know or appreciate Sanatana Dharma. And that is my problem here. I hope I'm able to kind of link those two, maybe have taken time to connect those two. The point is that all our efforts to expect that kids will automatically pick up Sanatana Dharma just like that, they will know, it won't work like that, because where we are educating them, those systems are not giving the right ingredients for self-experience. If I am meditating, I know that I am calming myself down. I know that my thoughts are calming down. Or I also at the same time know that I seem to be having lots of thoughts rushing through. I'm unable to sit still. I'm knowing about myself. How did I know about myself? Only when I started paying attention inwards. If you don't start paying attention inwards, forget about learning Sanatana Dharma. It won't happen. Because only after you know of yourself and you're exercising your ability to restrain your senses, calm your mind, only then you're allowing yourself to go within to know who you are. Am I able to make sense here? May I know? Or am I confused?
Yeah, I think, no, I think you're completely making sense. I think when you said education system, and now you're talking about, personal parental education,
Hmm?
I think they're two different things, right?
Yeah, my concern
Because,
is that
yeah.
most every kid in this modern world has to go through mandatory education system,
Hmm.
unless they are now homeschooled. Like for instance, I can vouch for a fact that Gauri Shankar's kids are homeschooled. Am I right, Gauri Shankar?
Yes.
You're a proud father of homeschooled kids. Unless they
Yep.
are homeschooled, they may not have this experiential learning, because everybody just has to go through the same process. So my concern is that from an age of in India, it is really unfortunate, I must say. From the age of 3 or 4, even before they even realize that there is something called as a world out there, they're already put into this rat race, and that doesn't stop until you get a job. And when you're in a job, you're actually working up until your retirement. Now I take it as a complete waste of one entire life. You have taken this life, you've taken up the you've been born this time to actually work on your karmic baggage, to make a spiritual progress. Instead, three-fourths of your life you have wasted away for nothing. And for what? Only to be born again to repeat the whole thing again. Now, this is the Sanatana Dharma perspective. So I would argue, basically saying that who decides the education system, that it has to be this way alone. So there are problems there, and the byproduct of it is that if I have individuals I'm able to teach and train, who are able to learn to go within, to appreciate who they are as a person, what their emotions are, what their thought process is like, what goods and what bads they have, only then they are actually more useful to themselves, to their family, and perhaps to the society. So my education, if it is actually aligned towards the concept of vidya and avidya, where I'm able to balance them both, I am in a better position to actually teach those two together, where they are on the right track towards of Sanatana Dharma, but they're also useful for this material world. Okay, so this is where I believe that perhaps our effort is going to play a part, whereby we would like to create this platform to teach everyone, particularly the youngsters, what Vidya is actually truly about. So I'll be now moving towards some foundations of child's learning, and first one would be Guru Sishya relationship. And for obvious reasons, we actually have Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, and the understanding there is that the Guru is as divine as anybody else, and I'm surrendering to that Guru. That's the whole point there. And this is a nice thing which keeps going in social media, where there are different words for different types of teaching. So you have Adhyapaka, you have Upadhyaya, Acharya, Pandita, Drashta. You have different names given to different calibers. And so one who is actually skilled and imparts skills is an Acharya. One who has a deep insight into a subject is a Pandita. So it's nice to see that. It's nice to see that there is a different kind of appreciation for different skill set of the Guru himself. Now, we know for sure that there are various ways a student actually learns things. Okay, one is based entirely on the relation of trust, openness, transparency, fearlessness in the students when they are actually receiving education from the teacher. Now, again, I have to unfortunately draw parallels with the current education system, particularly in India, where kids have no confidence in asking questions. They don't even possibly have the concept of asking questions because they have not been empowered. And if they are asked questions, perhaps the teacher may only give a textbook answer. There are huge problems there. So there's no thinking, there's no research there. Instead, the old ways was that Acharya Sishyayoho Paksha Pratipaksha Parigrahat Yah Kathabhyasa Hetuhu Syad Asau Vada Udahritaha. So Vada is the word we need to focus upon here. And there are three ways of interactions between a guru and a Sishya, or between two people who are actually kind of debating. Vada is the first type where both people who are debating actually have only one aim: for truth to prevail. They are not going to manipulate their debating points. They will present their cases only with the aim for truth to emerge out of it. Then you have Jalpa and Vitanda. Jalpa and Vitanda are flawed debating styles. So we'll not talk about it here. But the point here is that Vada is where the teacher and the student actually still, the shloka here is actually about the teacher and the student, their relation. Paksha Pratipaksha. One is proposing, another is countering. And then they're having a rich discussion. So the sole aim of getting the truth without any effort to show off the debating skills, without clouding the issue by making up claims only to win the debate. And it is only through discussions that one arrives at new insights and clarifies old convictions. So this is how the education system should be like, and it was. So the question again was Indian education always this way? It wasn't like that. It is an alien concept. Where did we even get it from? Why are we even imposing it upon ourselves? Why are we actually allowing our kids to be ruined in their thinking capacity, in their individual growth? There's a problem there. And what is the connection with Sanatana Dharma? I've already made a case that unless my kids are able to know who they are, I won't expect them to appreciate Sanatana Dharma. They may know Sanatana Dharma, that is Jnana, but they may not appreciate Sanatana Dharma, that is Vijnana. They should be in a position to experience it themselves. Another is Acharyat Padamadatte Padam Sishyap Swamedhaya Padam Sabrahmacharibhyaha Padam Kalakramena. See, 1/4 of the learning actually comes from teacher, only 1/4. 1/4 comes from their own intelligence, 1/4 from the classmates, and 1/4 with time. Again, I have to moan about the current education system. It doesn't go with this 1/4 formula. It goes with almost like 3/4 from the teacher. And I don't even know where the 1/4 comes from. I'll hope that the remaining 1/4 clubs the remaining intelligence. And I don't think classmates, I'll have to put tuitions. 1/4 is from tuitions maybe. Okay. And this is a serious problem that we have. In fact, very strangely, today I had a girl who actually contacted me, and I was so shocked to hear that they are not allowed to sleep. They are only getting about 4 to 5 hours of sleep. Their sessions go on until 2 o'clock in the morning, and they are monitored whether they have attended or not. And we are talking about university level education. This is what is going on. There's something seriously wrong there. These students are not getting time for themselves. They can't speak to their parents. They don't have time to reflect upon. And what kind of professionals are they going to be? They'll be frustrated. They will be having very poor soft skills. very poor emotional balance, very poor independent decision-making abilities. And this is alarming. Yes, Sonia ji.
Yeah, so when you get to this level of university level, like you're talking about, how much of this is the girl's decision or boy's decision to sign up for an education like this, based on what everybody else is doing? So I want to do it, go to the best college, get the best education, certifications, and yeah, think about how much time am I spending on the education versus my personal, my family well-being and all that other stuff.
Yeah,
Because up to a certain point, a child is young, you send them to school, it is the parents' responsibility, and then at some point it becomes the teenager, or they aren't even taught at that point, am I signing up for something that makes sense?
okay, understand. All right, so the second foundation is, as I already made a case, understanding that real Vidya is self-exploration and strengthening self-core. Okay, so that would be the second fundamental part when I'm going to teach kids Sanatana Dharma. Have I actually inculcated in them the understanding that they need to know who they are, and they need to strengthen their own confidence and conviction about who they are? They should be in the process be able to accept their flaws as their own as much as the strengths. Bhagavad Gita says, Yonta Sukantararamaha Tatantar Jyotirevayaha Sayogi Brahma Nirvanam Brahma Bhutodhigacchati. So there's Anta Sukhaha, Anta Aramaha, Anta Jyotihi. I want to give education to a child which actually makes them be content, find happiness within, be able to feel the necessary rejoice within. So they don't need to seek entertainment outside to make them feel complete. They should feel illumined within, don't need to rely upon textbookish knowledge outside. For those who may think that Sanatana Dharma can be practiced and understood only through reading books, they are wrong. A lot of it actually comes from both. And sometimes I would dare to say it can actually even just come from your own self-experiential ability. Okay. So, antasukhaha, happiness within, antararamaha, being able to rejoice and um, be able to find entertainment within, or at least not having to feel compelled to entertain yourself with things outside, and not having to rely on knowledge outside to feel you're illumined. No, the illumination comes from within. Only that person is actually on the right path towards bliss or nirvana. So, in other words, an education system which enables you to learn to find inner peace, contentment, knowledge that is the truth, and fulfill your duties that are consistent with your inner enlightenment. So, this is where the Purusharthas come into play. So, when the earlier part of your education that I was talking about puts you on the right path towards moksha, your Purusharthas. So, if there is a danger that some may say that, oh, your education system that you are proposing seems to be only about the outer world, or not the outer, the cosmic world, and it's not about the world here. This is where the caveat comes, that becomes the foundation on which you then apply yourself in the world around you here, in the material world, fulfilling your duties which are consistent with your inner enlightenment. The third rule would be appreciating the balance of logic or rationality and native wisdom in decision making. And this, I would say, is the core for rerouting to Dharma, because every modern child is driven by logic, and that's the way we are training our kids. That is the way we want them to be ready, job ready, or debate ready, or exam ready. So this is how we would like them to be, and there's nothing wrong, but it has to be balanced with native wisdom as well. So what's the difference between logic and wisdom then, if that is the case? And we need to look at what is native wisdom, because I often propose this whole concept of native wisdom. I would say that both are required. So I'll give you a short story, which is a true kind of social media news during the Corona times. So I call it Coronavirus Citrus Fruits and the Government's Claim. This was by one of the state government portals that they have made this claim during the Corona times. And they basically said that lemon and orange juice will protect against coronavirus. And they actually spent money on issuing it through banners as well. And it was seemingly irresponsible and waste of money, because there is no scientific proof. There is no real scientific proof that lime and oranges just by themselves are going to protect against coronavirus. No, yes, I do note your remarks, Soniaji, about vitamin C, but I'm afraid to say there is no scientific proof that lemon and orange juice is going to protect against coronavirus. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, true.
There is no proof. And that is irresponsible of government to make such claims. And this is how, unfortunately, we get labeled as pseudoscientific practitioners and so on. Now, this is where logic wins the battle. Rationality wins the battle, hands down. Now, what are the lessons we can learn from here from a wisdom point of view? Can anybody explain? What are the lessons we can learn from wisdom? How does wisdom work here? We have seen how logic works, but how does wisdom work?
Sir, I think wisdom, innately that it may or may not be true. So I think that is wisdom, based on your experience thus far in life.
Okay. What else? How else does wisdom work? Thank you.
It may be one of the ways, or it may be helpful.
It may be helpful. Okay. It may be one of the ways. It may be helpful. Where did that wisdom come from? Or where did this idea, I shouldn't call it wisdom yet, where did that idea come from?
From previous reading, previous experience.
Previous reading, previous experience. Okay. Yeah.
Whenever a suggestion is provided, you kind of think about it and then try to look at it from different perspectives and ask questions whether it will or will not work and how it is expected to work.
Okay. Yeah.
It comes from an open mind.
Yeah. It comes from an open mind. Yes, that is also true. Okay. Now just think about, again, coronavirus, lemon, orange juice. Government may be irresponsible, but are they totally wrong? What can they do the least? So already Sonia ji has written it has a vitamin C. Does it cost much to buy oranges and lemon? Does it cost much? It doesn't. Do they taste nice? Yes, they do taste nice. And do they actually help you, feel at least your immunity is boosted? Yes, at least to that extent, immunity gets boosted. So what do we have here? What is the big deal? What will go wrong if I drink lemon and orange juice? Will anything go wrong? They're not toxic. They're naturally available substances. So my wisdom says that government has made a fool of itself, but having said that, I'm not going to lose much by drinking this. Maybe, who knows, if it really is going to kind of protect me against coronavirus. That is a bonus for me. So you see the difference here. So the difference is that you're able to be wisely looking at this from an open mind point of view. And one of the guests today has said open mind. Wisdom comes from an open mind. Logic, the problem is that it has that double-sided, it's like a double-sided sword. It is great because it makes you not fall into the trap of dogma because you're looking for evidence. But at the same time, it makes you rigid that you may actually think there is no truth beyond what I can perceive. So that can lead to intolerance as well of others' views. And this is what dogmatic religious practitioners end up doing. They may actually make claims that I only know the truth, whereas everything else beyond this is not true and therefore to be condemned. This is the same thing a very rationally driven atheist may also say. Show me proof of God. If only you can show, then I would appreciate. Otherwise not. So what does it lead to? It obviously leads to a little bit of rigidity and inflexibility. So that's the problem if you just hold on to only the logic and don't apply wisdom at all. And is there really proof that evidence is going to modify human attitude, even if that is the case? Apparently not. For instance, I know very well a burger or a fries or cola, they if I'm going to eat them on a regular basis, they are going to kind of ruin my health. But still, I may still carry on eating it because it tastes nice. It is easy for me to just go and buy. I don't need to cook. So no matter what evidence I'm showing, I'm still actually not changing my attitude. So it's not necessary that logic alone is going to win over all the time. So this is how I would say, according to my understanding, that if you rely totally only on logic, you are likely to be a rigid, pessimistic, grumpy, exclusivist, inflexible, and highly intolerant person, frankly speaking. But those who apply wisdom along with logic tend to be accepting, they are joyful, they're more inclusive and flexible because they give opportunity for others' views to be heard and, okay, fine, maybe he's wrong, kind of thing. Right? So this is something which is important again from kids' point of view. Again, our topic is rerouting kids to Dharma, and how are we going to approach the whole idea of teaching them Dharma. And I'm going to be aware of these two approaches where I need to be rational, I need to be logical in how I pitch what I'm going to say. But I also need to train them to be wise and apply wisdom. And that's the whole point I was trying to kind of get across through this exercise here. Okay, so just looking at this here, logic is the beginning of wisdom and it's not the end of wisdom. So that's important. Albert Einstein also says something very important here. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, whereas the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. We need to value them. They are singing nicely, right? This is obviously in Telugu, so I've cut it short because those who may not understand it. They're singing well. You know what they're singing? They're basically singing about how we should let go of our Arishad Varga. They're singing about how we have common oneness. Are they educated? They haven't even gone to school. They are happy. Antas sukha, antar aramaha, and antar jyotihi. They're illuminated with this knowledge without having to go to school. Their needs are limited as well. Now, I ask a question, where did they gain this knowledge through this song? So somebody was teaching them these songs. So which means the society had its own ways of teaching itself, teaching its own people. That too, depths of knowledge. Now again, I go back to the point, what is the purpose of this life? Is it to work? Is it for me to go to kindergarten at the age of 4, study until 26 or 27, do PhDs, and then work until I retire? Is that the purpose of life? No, I say that my purpose of life is to know who I am, set myself in the right path, appreciate that there is dvandva. I need to go beyond the dvandvas of hot and cold and victory and defeat and these kind of things. I should be able to love all, and I should be able to still be able to approach my duties, the purusharthas, having this wisdom in me. Then I would think is the better way of leading my life. I should be in a position as a parent to be able to express this in the right way for my kids to appreciate and for me to also kind of practice it. Okay. So, so that was the third point. So what was the first point that we learned? The first point we learned was the Guru-Sishya Parampara, Guru-Sishya relation, how it should be, and the beauty of surrendering to the Guru, but at the same time be fearless, have that environment to be able to allow child to be fearless in asking questions. Second was the idea of Vidya, that is the self-explorative approach that the child needs to have so that they learn. Third was about native wisdom and logic, the balance of it, the combination of it. And the fourth now is open to learn from all directions. Ano badhra kritavo yanta vishpataha. This is the Rigveda Mahavakya. And it basically says, let the knowledge actually come from all directions. I'm open to learn from all directions. I'm going to learn from the trees around me. I'm going to learn from the crows. I'll be learning from my sweepers on the streets. It could be anybody. I'm going to be open to learn from all of them. And I often quote this example. In our street, there used to be a lady who grew up, she was older to me, but I knew her. I've seen her throughout my life from her younger days on, but she passed away recently in poverty. She passed away in poverty. There was a time when she would be always in shabby clothes and be going from one house to the other only to be shooed away, saying, go away, kind of thing. But she had taught me 2 lessons. One about recycling. Somehow she finds all those unused things from various houses and she takes them somewhere to recycle. Second, I learned was, irrespective of all the hardships that she had been facing, And even though people disliked her appearance and her intrusions into various houses, of course not inside but into their premises, even though she was kind of not welcomed, she always had a smile on her face, irrespective of all the adversities. Now it made me wonder what actually keeps her going. What is that? Where is she getting that antasukha? So that's another lesson I have learned. So we need to be able to learn from everywhere. That's why in one of the Gitas, as it is called in Bhagavatam, forgot what Gita it is. That person narrates how he learns from 22 things: the serpent, the tree, the crow, various things that teach him.
Brahmara Gita.
Yen Gita?
Brahmara Gita.
Brahmara Gita. I think it's a different name. Never mind.
About 24 gurus.
24 gurus, yeah. And the fourth foundation for child's learning, appreciating the concept of perception versus reality, Maya versus Sat, loosely put. Can you actually see the Sat? Can you actually realize the Sat? No. But you perceive Maya every moment, and this Maya is real for you. Annapurnaji doesn't like me saying perception is stronger than reality.
Very true.
But that's the whole point. It is so strong that it makes this Sat oblivious. I can't even see it. I can't even perceive it. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. So the child needs to appreciate that truth is not always what it appears to be, particularly not when it comes from third party or there are no references. See, we know the story of an elephant and various kids around, kids who actually are asked to feel it blindfolded. And they'll say, oh, elephant is the one which is like a pillar, says the one who actually feels the leg. And one who feels the tail, he says elephant is like a snake. Only when they remove the blindfolds do they actually all realize that elephant is actually very different to what they perceived it to be. Similarly, if we have a sixth sense beyond the five senses, maybe we'll be able to perceive that, oh, this is all actually, this Maya is not true. It is an illusion, but the truth is Sat. So we should be able to give kids the understanding that perception is not necessarily always the only way you understand truth. So they're open to give other views some kind of weightage too. The sixth would be brahmacharya, to teach that this is a time to stay focused and to learn to gain knowledge for welfare of society and the world. And the seventh would be, foundation learning would be finding my life purpose. What is it that you want to do? What is your life purpose? Did you discover it yourself, or is it the parents who actually are dictating what is the purpose of your life? And making my life meaningful. This I cover in a different webinar altogether called Discover Yourself. So it's actually for 6 sessions, 6 hours of interactive work there.
What is the sixth one again? Sorry.
Sixth one was brahmacharya. To emphasize that this is a time to stay focused, to learn and gain knowledge. And seventh is actually finding the purpose. So I stop here to hear your comments, and yeah.
Can we use another word instead of brahmacharya?
What would that be?
I'm thinking.
You don't want to use it because brahmacharya is associated with celibacy? Is that the reason?
Worldly pleasures. No?
Brahmacharya.
Hmm?
Brahmacharya basically means it's like upastiti, Brahmopastiti. You are actually near the Brahman.
Okay.
So it's
That
like
meaning I didn't.
it's like Vidyacharya, you can say. So you're on the path to learn Vidya. So that is your phase where you're actually realizing your Brahman. You are the Brahman. You are actually realizing it. You are actually gaining all the necessary knowledge to stay focused.
Is it? I didn't get it. I'll read on it.
So
Yeah.
what about Swadhyaya? Is that different?
Swadhyaya is nothing but scriptural studies. It should carry on, and it has its definite value there, because those scriptures which have been already kind of handed over, which can be validated to be true knowledge, obviously it is important to read those if you have access to that.
Yeah, but it's Swadhyaya is learning about self, right? Swa and
Not necessarily.
Adhyaya. No?
Swadhyaya is you are doing it yourself, maybe. I mean, Swadhyaya is very much specifically, it refers to scriptural reading.
And how to explain the concept of brahmacharya without making the child uncomfortable? Because obviously, I mean porn, and we have so much of it in our faces now everywhere on the internet. And children spend so much time on their phones, we don't really know what they're looking at. So how do we explain the concept, sir?
Okay. We have no way but to start from the basics. You may not have to introduce the word brahmacharya to begin with, because how are you even going to enter into a discussion with a child is important. So you need to start with the very basic fundamental rule of engaging. The other day we had 3 things we spoke about. Even I can't remember now. At that point of time I said 3 things, but one of the things was, as a parent and child, you need to have open communication.
Yes.
First and foremost is that open communication gives that healthy relation an opportunity where the child is comfortable talking about topics which you then would want to kind of pursue with them. So once you have established that rapport, then you will have to ask questions based on what I have said. For instance, how do you see truth? What is your understanding of truth? If the child presents his view, and then you have to present your view, what you believe is the concept of truth. And you may have to give some examples, as I have already said, the elephant and the children's kind of story. And so this is how you need to then have that interaction. You're asking them questions, and then you're actually appreciating their responses. You're acknowledging their responses. And then you are proposing yours for their acknowledgement. You are actually setting conditions for the discussion. If it goes into a debate, you also set conditions for the debate. How do you kind of engage in that vada? Explain the concept of vada, nicely related to the ancient vada concept, vada, jalpa, and vitanda, and say that this is how it used to be done, and they won wonderful results because their whole idea was to learn about truth. I would think you will be in a much better position to teach about Sanatana Dharma without even naming that to be Sanatana Dharma.
Yes, sir.
And the focus then is about freedom to express truth, love,
Mm.
fearlessness. You are teaching them. You are teaching all these things. You gradually make inroads, and all you need to do is, once they have understood the concepts, you are then saying truth is Sat. If you have understood your truth, then it is easier for you to understand the cosmic truth. So that is called Sat.
Mm.
If you understood that we need to have a transparent way of debating and communication only to establish truth, that is a Vada. Now you're giving the words which then make them appreciate that, oh, these concepts have already been there. And then the whole idea of love, you can actually demonstrate it through the whole idea of Samadrashti, that you have the Atman and I have the Atman. We are the same Atman.
Mm.
So this is an approach where a kid is in a better position to feel comfortable, non-threatened, not thrusted upon with your world
Idea.
viewpoint or your
Yes.
obsolete in his own view. You're already outdated, a fossil. You're a fossil.
I am a fossil. Yes, sir. 100%. That's what he calls me. Amma, you're a fossil.
So we have a lot of unlearning that has to give an opportunity there, and yeah, so that's how it is. Yeah.
Yes. Thank
All right. Anybody else wishes to? So as I said,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Last minute, I think my connection dropped off, so I couldn't hear your valuable answer. So that's okay. But I just wanted to also ask you. See, these days we have, another kind of mini epidemic where everybody thinks they know the answer to everything.
Yeah.
And so the receptivity has gone down a lot. So is there any way we could connect this with, what we have while trying to understand Sanatana Dharma and make this connection so that we don't raise children in this very, this is a problem, I feel.
Yeah, thank you. That's a very important point. First of all, let me take this opportunity to ask you, did whatever I discuss seem like unrelated to Sanatana Dharma, or are they related to Sanatana Dharma?
They are related. As
what do others
far
say?
as
What do others feel? Today's discussion, today's points that I have brought forward, are they related or unrelated to Sanatana Dharma?
Related, sir.
They are definitely related. I'm just confused on how this, the family versus the education system, because parents are fighting against so much.
Okay, you've gone a step ahead as to how do you
Yes.
resolve it. Okay, Rekha ji, I'm coming to your point, which is a wonderful point. I think, first of all, there are two things we need to appreciate here. So your question is, everybody is responding with their piece of knowledge as if they know the answer, so they know everything kind of thing. They're not in a position to receive. I've learned this thing from Ramchandra Mission. I'm an Abhyasi and been through a lot of satsangs of theirs as well. One of the beautiful learnings there was once the meditation is over, nobody is just expected to talk, because there is this uncomfortable feeling, silence. When everybody is silent, somebody feels like, oh, I think we should just break this silence by talking something. So the idea there is that you feel that there is a need to say something, and that has to come from your heart, then only say. Don't just say things just because your logical mind wants to say something. I think that's one of the things we need to learn in an interaction. Our listening skills can only improve when our responses are not necessarily only to logically counter. It should rather be coming from your heart, how you feel, and then you should respond. The second thing I've learned was from Vivekananda, who said, ask questions only when they are relevant and important to ask. Just don't ask anything and everything. It's pointless. And the whole idea of Vada, for it to base itself on establishing truth as the product or the result, would necessarily mean that the two opposing parties are refusing the temptation to utter something only to make themselves win. So within that obviously comes the whole idea that I'm respecting my, I'm presenting my case and he's presenting his case. I'm not going to manipulate my argument, neither will I misquote his argument only to make me win. In the process, what am I doing? I'm still doing all those right things, listening well, saying things when they are relevant to be said, because my whole objective is to learn the truth. So I think this is, I surely believe that the Sanatana Dharmic formula of education can be translated into real world, and it is for us to make an impression of it at home as well as elsewhere, wherever we meet people. So I don't know if I've answered your question, but this is the best I could do.
I did get a very good sense of what you are saying. I think it can be also translated to the Atma Nigraha that we are, that we should, as good Sanatanis, be schooled in, or we should have realized that. So I think once you train that sense, then probably this urge to rush in and say that you know it all will decrease.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Anybody else wishes to say anything? As I said, I have a few more follow-up slides which are actually far more important, but I haven't come close to that at all. I think it's enough for today. So when I get another opportunity, I can talk about those another time.
Sir, may we view this recording or listen to this recording?
Yeah, I'll edit it because I know there are lots of pauses in between. I'll edit it and then I will upload it, and hopefully it should be, okay, that'll be available.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right, so let's close for today then. Keyur, you are new today. Can I know where are you from? And
Sure, sir. I'm from Mumbai, Maharashtra, but right now located in Florida, USA.
Oh, perfect. Thanks for joining in. Hope to see you again.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkhavat bhaved. Om shanti shanti shanti. All right. See you all again. Namaste.
Is this like an ongoing thing?
Yeah, we meet up every Saturday at this time. Yeah.
I just happened to stumble into this really, by chance. So this is absolutely wonderful. I would like to. How do I get to know about this actually?
I'll just share my mobile number. If you can just message WhatsApp me, and I'll add you to one of the groups.
All right.
Rekhaji, where did you get this link from?
I got it from, I think Rahiji.
No, I mean, okay.
Of course.
Okay, you know Rahiji. Okay.
Rahiji is a good friend of mine, very dedicated for dharmic welfare. Yeah.
Yeah. He had very good things to say about you. And I mean, this has been my, oh, I'm sorry. I think it's on the chat. Okay. I'll just save that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Keyurji, same with you as well. I don't